and this is the global forecast for September 2015. Let's get the easy stuff out of the way first, shall we? Uranus in Aries, going retrograde, no big deal. No sign of any new drama and crises, at least at personal levels. Not sure about the global. The Aries full moon at the end of this month, it's quite nice. It's relatively tame. I think it's at about 4 degrees of Aries. Don't see that as causing any big problems. It's actually working very well with Saturn. Nice. The new moon in Virgo, I think it's on the 13th, around about 20 degrees of Virgo. Healthy enough. No sign of any big challenges there. So I'm not worried about the new or full moon. I'm not worried about Uranus. I'm not even really that worried about Venus or Mars. Admittedly, Venus is retrograde, will be until the 6th, and then it will start moving forward again. But Venus and Mars are basically going to be together all month. Now, here's a one-off. For those of you who are early birds and in a position in the world where you've got clear cloud, no cloud, have a look at the sky around about an hour or two before dawn on the 10th of September. If you look to the east, to the sunrise point, an hour or two before dawn on the 10th, you should see the moon and Venus and Mars, the crescent fading moon, all coming up very close to each other, and that should be quite a spectacular sight. But that's the sun and the moon, and Venus and Mars and Uranus. They're easy this month. It's the others that are going to give us grief. Firstly, we've got a big Mercury retrograde throughout September. Mercury's going to be retrograde in the first half of Libra. Now, I'm not that worried by it once it actually gets into the retrograde process. But when it stands still going retrograde, it's going to stand still for a week and a half to 2 weeks, really strongly squaring Pluto. Take this out of the personal and put it into the global, it creates a lot of political problems. And I'm really suggesting that in September we're going to get a hell of a lot of political spin. It's going to be lots and lots of words, and it's all going to be lies. I use that word after forethought, but we're not going to get the truth. There's going to be a lot of rhetoric and a lot of hype and spin, and I do feel that much of what is said to us over this coming month is only going to be at best a facsimile of the truth and probably outright lies. So don't go believing everything you're being told that comes from on high this month. It's not going to be real. This is furtherly demonstrated by the fact that we've got, as well at the same time as Mercury retrograde square Pluto, we've also got Jupiter opposite Neptune. This happens for about, on average, 2 weeks every 12 years, and it's now, this month. There's going to be a flood. Now, I'm not talking about a flood of rain or water, because it might be raining heavily in one country but it'll be really dry in another, so you can't say it's weather. There's a lot of people talking about the floods of refugees that are all around the world and happening, and yes, this is ongoing, but then population is rapidly increasing. It's a flood of empathy as much as anything else, a flood of sensitivity. But Jupiter in Virgo will strive for perfection and functionality and effectiveness and efficiency, whereas Neptune is really going to muddy the waters. So anything that can be exaggerated will be. You're going to see in the middle of September a lot of news around alternative energy, around fracking, around environmental stuff, and it's going to be hype and spin. Don't buy into it. And then to add insult to injury, Saturn is finally leaving Scorpio, which after 2.5 years of exposure of paedophilia, child abuse, abuse of women, primarily it has to be said by celebrities, politicians and the clergy, although these are just representative of what else is going on across the board, you should find that this emphasis begins to dissipate, finally, from the end of this month onwards. But that's not to say that Saturn's going to go away, because he's not. He's just going to change area. He's moving back into Sagittarius. So I think that the next 2.5 years with Saturn in Sagittarius, he's going to really get to grips with things like the judiciary, the rule of law, the attitude towards religion, trust and truth, and particularly fundamentalism. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some quite radical changes in global attitudes towards things like ISIS and the other types of raving lunatic nutters we've got out there who are all fundamentalists in some shape or form. Whether it's gun advocates in America, the decapitating people in the Middle East, fundamentalism is going to rise in the next 2.5 years to a point where there's fewer and fewer fundamentalists, but they will be getting more and more extreme. And then Saturn will have his way with them, and there will be an end to fundamentalism, and it can't come soon enough. But I do expect this month to be a month where a lot of things are going to be out of kilter. Don't buy into the hype and spin of this month. Don't believe everything you're being told, but at the same time, do your best to keep a level perspective, regardless of whether I'm talking to individuals or a country. Don't let things get out of proportion. If they can, they will this month. It's a crazy month. I'll be so pleased once we're into the middle of October, because from then on, we're going to start seeing a return to what I would flippantly call sanity. September's not an easy month. If the Earth were my client, I'd be saying, this month, go on holiday. Go on the beach. Don't take your mobile, don't take your internet, and just chill out and do your very best to stay as centred as you possibly can. As far as September goes, planet Earth, have an objective and centred month.